What? Don't lay that on Mommy.
You effing SO. What have you done?
But sometimes he does these things that makes me crazy.
We call it the Satan ventriloquist. You're not handling the situation very well, and if you don't...
I have a really hard time keeping my mouth shut. Hi guys, it's Alice Bradley from Finslippy. I have a great husband. Scott is the best. But there are times when Scott does things that I disagree with, and I have a really hard time keeping my mouth shut. Look, I've got a stack of books on how to be a good parent and on child development, and the stack of books is pretty high. Scott has a stack of books that are 0. They're invisible. See all these invisible books? He hasn't read any books on parenting. So I feel like I'm kind of the expert and I know everything there is to know. And I kind of feel like he's just winging it. My question to you is, what do you do when you disagree with your husband's parenting decisions?
I am so impressed that you read books. I would say that if I were married to you, I would completely defer to you in terms of child rearing because we don't do a lot of reading.
My stack of books matches Scott's stack of books exactly. I have an imaginary pile of books to which I refer when I have deep and pressing questions about parenting.
Because my husband had 3 children from previous marriage, I kind of thought like, well, he knows what he's doing. But, you know, even little things, I started to go, maybe he doesn't.
But seriously, guys, I don't want you to think that I'm like, you know, Henry's having a crisis and I'm like, wait a minute, let me consult my library first. I see you're going through an Oedipal crisis. And flip, 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 flip.
We just had an issue last week where he really wanted Vivian to sleep at school. So she comes home Thursday and she's not in a bed mood, she's feral. And I was like, you know what? You go to work, you don't have to deal with this because he works at night. I'm gonna have to deal with this super out of sorts kid. I didn't kind of do what's in my gut, which is to be like, you effing SO, what have you done? I try to be more rational, not call him names.
I agree with Daphne that when we're talking about our husbands, respect is such a key issue. I think that too often those situations do turn into like, you're such an idiot, like what you were talking about.
Differing about parenting styles, having a difference of opinion can be a deal breaker sometimes. I mean, it can, you know, it can infiltrate almost every other, you know, aspect of your marriage.
When I was growing up, my mother was to me completely insane. I thought she was a lunatic. And my dad would just shut me down because he was, you know, of the belief that you really never went against anything your wife said. And I always thought that was kind of hurtful. In a way, having a confidant isn't the worst thing in a parent.
My mother was a lot like my confidant, like I feel like I am with my daughter. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I do feel like our children should have an advocate, especially if we see in them some of the behavior that we exhibited as a kid.
I think the most important thing is the kid knows that you're in dialogue, taking a step back and like taking a moment to pull each other aside, or to just exchange the look.
We call it the Satan ventriloquist. You're not handling the situation very well, and if you don't...
Scott totally does that thing to me where he's like, Mommy said no. I would have said yes. But this one...
So sometimes I notice, like, say we're out on the weekend together and I'm kind of like, oh God, we're almost to the car, I'm going to sit down. And Mark will suddenly be like, get on my shoulders, I see a kitty cat in the tree. And I'll be like, you know, and I'll start to be like, Miss No. And then I go, oh, whatever, chill out, bitch, you know, whatever. It's a beautiful moment with her daddy.
Maybe there's supposed to be some push and pull, and children are supposed to see that and realize that's okay, that we can disagree with each other. And like you were saying, Daphne, you've got to be respectful, you know? I can't call him a jackass in front of my child. I think we've all learned a little something here today. I feel closer to you guys already.
Join the Momversation at momversation.com.